Hello, everyone. I'm Hugo.
And I am refreshed.
And this is Unpopular Culture, and welcome to our live discussion review of Krispy Kreme Presents The Breakfast Club with Superpowers.
That's the most fucking accurate thing ever.
Oh, I'm sure I'm not the first person to make that joke.
And also they have robots?
I think that ties into the superpowers part. But yeah, we're here to talk about... For those of you who watch us regularly, you know, we've been following the development of the Power Rangers movie for a long time since we've been doing the weekly movie TV news thing. And we've had some choice words for the film. We've had plenty of criticisms about the designs of the characters. We're worried about the fact that it was coming out. I think Lionsgate did it. Then some of the casting decisions were like, oh, Bryan Cranston, that's interesting. So I'm a Power Rangers fan still today, and I know Jake, at least as a kid, watched it. I can say, as someone who went into this movie saying, I'll probably have a few fun moments, but the movie's gonna suck dick. I can actually come out of this movie as a Power Rangers fan saying, all right, not bad. I enjoyed it. It's not a great movie, but it was an all right movie. Okay.
You know, honestly, the opening scene, and this is going to be rife with spoilers, so if you haven't seen this, don't fucking watch.
Yeah, I'm going to say right now, before if you don't want, is there anything in the Power Rangers movie that happened that you didn't think was going to happen? No. But if you don't want spoilers and don't want specifics as to what happened in the movie.
Basically, just this first thing I'm going to talk about, I didn't expect. But, so it opens up, and it's Power Rangers are fighting, I guess it's Rita, but it's like there's also like dinosaurs and meteors happening. I don't really know where they're at in the fight, but they're fighting on Earth while there's dinosaurs just about. And Zordon's the Red Ranger, and some alien is the Yellow Ranger, and she dies just like real life Trini. And
No, Trini I think died in a car accident, not via Rita.
No, Trini died in the Paleolithic era to a moon wizard lady. Will you stop making noise, Darwin? I'm trying to be... Anyways. And I didn't expect that, but I wanted more of that part. Like, of all the things I hate in movies, it's prequels that don't let me, like, blow my wad fast enough on stuff. But, like, that was actually interesting. Zordon as Power Ranger... That would have been cool, and it would have made me give a shit about his character in general, which I didn't, and just because it was Bryan Cranston didn't make me give a shit.
Well, that's not necessarily a new addition to the canon. I don't think they ever outright said it in the original show, but I remember they briefly, at least in one episode I watched fairly recently, they show Zordon in a humanoid form. It's like a flashback. You don't see his face, but it's like a guy in a robe. And they've implied before that maybe he's definitely been involved in fighting evil for a long time. I understand what you mean about seeing more of that. It would have been kind of cool to establish maybe why they were... I understand that it was about the Zeo Crystal, but...
It's more because of... the first...
Why did she turn on them? Why did she all of a sudden decide, I want this power?
Right, because so the big thing is basically... What they missed out on was Zordon and Rita's relationship. And I don't mean romantic relationship. I just mean who they all fucking are to each other. They were teammates at one point. She was the, spoilers, Green Ranger. Did you not see that fucking coming? And I don't know. It's just like... She was just a bad guy and he didn't like her. And that was the point. And it wasn't like...
You needed a scene in there where you saw Zordon working with his teammates, trying to fight Rita.
You needed her doing... Good thing, air quotes, and then there needed to be the betrayal. I needed about 10-15 minutes of it, not 2 minutes, basically, to make me give a shit that Zordon's trapped in his non-living body, and then his sacrifice to Billy later on makes sense, and it makes mean something instead of just this sort of like dry, we know that Billy's not going to die. It's the first movie. It's Billy. He can't die. And then like it also makes Rita's betrayal like means. Otherwise, she's just Moon Lady without the moon. Although she gets punched to the moon. So
that yeah, at the end of the movie, the way they defeat her is they don't punch her, they slap her, because it's a callback to a thing that happens with a bully at the beginning of the movie. The bully, by the way, not Bulk or Skull. Terrible decision. They really needed to make that guy either Bulk or Skull.
I thought at one point we reported that they were confirmed to be... Did they just not name them as Bulk or Skull?
No, they called him a different name. So they would have to retcon that by in the next movie saying their nickname is either Bulk or Skull and giving him a friend. They easily in screen. I get you don't want the da-na-na-na-na-na slapsticky bully, but still, if you're going to have a bully in a movie and the series already has established bullies, it should probably be the same ones.
Wait, what was that ditty you did? Is that Bulk and Skull's ditty?
Yeah, when they come on screen, generally in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it's like it's a silly little
I didn't know.
Tuba, da-na-na-na-na-na, silly music. But anyway, they slap Rita into space. Is the implication there that
towards the moon? The moon is there. It's on her trajectory. I'm just saying.
Did they slap her to the moon? And because if you haven't seen the original series, she's on the moon in the original series. That's where her castle is. So did they slap her to the moon, and now that's how she got to the moon? Because that's pretty fucking stupid. Although
now Goldar was lame. I guess I'm jumping ahead of myself, but it kind of goes along with the whole moon castle thing. I didn't like it.
Yeah. I don't like that they made. Again, bear in mind, I'm talking about negative stuff first. I did like the movie. I'll talk about the positive stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that they made Goldar just faceless, basically a puppet she was using. Although a lot of the things in this movie we called, by the way, the fact that she was getting gold from the ground, making Goldar, the fact that Angel Grove's a gold mining town that is down on his luck. We call
also they don't ever explicitly talk about it, but Goldar is a replica of sorts of the Megazord. No, but when she sees the Megazord, it's like she's never seen it before.
Here's what they never expressly say this in the movie, but here's what happened. The Alpha 5 says to the team when they're looking at the Zords, not the Megazord yet. He never calls it the Megazord. Mm-hmm. He says, these machines, these Zords are super powerful, and they can come together to make the most powerful being on the planet. Now, you could say he just means, it's the Megazord. It becomes the Megazord. The Megazord is the most powerful being on the planet. I take that as, because remember, he looks like Goldar. Goldar was the most powerful being on the planet at the moment, so when the Zords came together, they decided to copy the most powerful thing on the planet at the time, and it happened to be Goldar. So it's not that Goldar was ripping off the Megazord, it's that the Megazord was copying Goldar.
Do you think... Okay, that's interesting, but do you think that the Megazord will change depending on the enemy they're fighting?
No, I don't think it really usually will. I think they'll hand wave it and just be like, whatever. It looks like this now. That's what it looks like. We locked it in. That's what it's kind of like the TARDIS. They'll TARDIS it. They'll be like, it's supposed to change, but it doesn't change.
What if it was like a dick? What if they bought a giant gold dick? They would have no functionality forever, and then the Zords are cucked.
I don't know. I don't know. But what else didn't I like?
The other negatives.
The Krispy Kreme joke. Jake and I are actually opposing opinions on the Krispy Kreme joke, I think. Or maybe
No.
It was my girlfriend who I argued with. Is about not like a serious argument, but
I could understand how you could mix her and I up.
Yeah, very similar. Both have orifices that I penetrate. Anyway, so what happened is there's a joke in the movie about Krispy Kreme. The Zeo crystal, which I like that they made the MacGuffin, the Zeo crystal. That's a good callback. Is underneath a Krispy Kreme. It's been buried for millions of years, so now it's under a Krispy Kreme. That's funny. That's a funny joke. I'm fine with product placements in movies. I'm even fine with product placements being slipped into the movie as a joke if it's done well.
And also, it got obliterated immediately, which was funny too.
Sure, but then they kept saying Krispy Kreme. Yep. Like 50 times. Yep. Like it got out
like I also understood like it was I even liked the joke where she grabbed a Krispy Kreme and started eating it.
Oh sure, that's funny.
Like it's a new cultural thing she didn't understand, and then this is what that is. But like we've got to protect the Krispy Kreme where I'm going to destroy the Krispy Kreme. Like
like if they hadn't
stop it. This is
proper name.
This is the Man of Steel fight in the was it the IHOP?
Yeah, IHOP. They literally plowed into an IHOP.
And nothing broke, of course. It looks nice in there.
Broke, but they landed nicely between the rows of booths so people could still enjoy their Grand Slam breakfasts.
No, that's Denny's. You mixed it up.
Oh fuck. You get it. Whatever.
I don't know what IHOP makes. Just stacks of pancakes. I don't eat there.
Yeah.
Shockingly, the facade would tell you otherwise, but
yeah. So what else didn't I like? I wish they would have. This isn't stuff I hated. This is just stuff I wish they would have included. Bulk and Skull, like I said. Mm-hmm. I wish they would have, at least at the end, maybe introduced a hangout spot for them, like the juice bar. I'm a little bit afraid in the sequel they're gonna try and steer into the skid, and instead of doing juice bar, their hangout is the Krispy Kreme, because they're gonna be like, well, people kind of thought that was stupid, but we'll steer into the skid and make it even more of a joke. But that would go poorly.
It'd be funny if they started at the Krispy Kreme and they're like, nah, let's go to the juice bar.
Yeah, that's fine. That'd be fine.
Like you can kind of self-correct that way. The thing I didn't like was the lack of character development for anyone but Jason and Billy. Basically, it was just, I mean, Kimberly had some later, but I still don't like know what her fucking deal was. Was she just a grumpy teenager? Trini, I think, is struggling with her sexuality, so I get why that probably got cut, because it's a kids movie. But I thought that was interesting. It made her character.
It's not
special.
No,
and Billy was like he's dealing with actual autism, but he's funny, and you don't ever pity him. They handled that well, actually. I was impressed. And Jason's sort of this, like, he was a jock, he's a disappointment. I get that. But then there's the Asian kid. He's just, I'm a bad boy.
He's got the mom who's sick. They tried to add on a layer with the sick mom.
Though. Like, they needed another.
I get it.
They needed more time with that. And, like, don't worry about the runtime. It's Power Rangers. We came here to see it. So, like, I don't know. It just didn't have enough character development, I don't think. It definitely felt like the character development aspects of it felt like what I expected, basically. Like, it was going to be very short.
I'm impressed, honestly, considering if you go back and watch the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, none of the characters have a character. They barely have stereotypes. The fact that they were able to attribute actual character to these characters, and I actually cared enough. And I mean, I'm not saying it's like an in-depth character piece, but I cared enough for the scenes.
I cared about Jason and Billy.
Sure. I cared about
Alpha.
Alpha's not, he's comic relief, but still, I'm impressed that they were able to give character to characters without much character in the first place and make me care about them. I want to give Jake props for calling this earlier. I don't know, like a couple months ago. He said, "I bet they're not getting the suits until the very end of the movie. The whole movie is going to be them unsuited, dealing with it, and then at the end they're going to get it." And I was like, they're going to at least do one fight in the middle or something. Nope, I was wrong. So props to you for that.
And it's they did the Daredevil thing. They blew Bully. Actually, it was better than Daredevil because Daredevil gave you like a glimpse until season 2. But now,
okay,
I will say the jokes that weren't the Krispy Kreme, funny jokes. The dialogue felt teeny, but not like Aaron Sorkin or Diablo Cody like bantery. You know, it felt pretty natural without being like overly produced. Like Billy specifically, I just think the kid did a fantastic job. Zordon was like visually cool, but I think Zordon was the worst character in this movie, and that's Rita was in this movie. So
did you call Aaron Sorkin teeny? Isn't he the guy that
does? No.
Oh, you teeny.
I meant snappy
dialogue.
And then talk over each other, and there's a lot of stuttering, and no.
Okay, gotcha.
There wasn't a lot of that. There wasn't a lot of that high pace. Like there wasn't a walk and talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. But
I can't believe Zordon was the worst. I cannot believe it.
I think what he lacked for here's why I think they put Bryan Cranston in that role. Other than just he has connections to the series already. Because he is a thinner character and there wasn't as much going on, you had to sort of imply his character and that he's obviously.
It's certainly got gravitas from having.
They needed the performance, and I think his performance was good for what it was. I agree they need more in the next one, but
Cranston did fine.
As far as just his place in the story, he wasn't a character in the movie as much as he was a plot device to move the story forward. Obviously, in the show that he's kind of that too, but he's also a character. Here, he needs to be in it because it's Zordon, but he's not in it that much. But when he is in it, I do like him, despite the fact that the writing's a little thinner around him. I think that Bryan Cranston is able to pull it off, and you can imply a lot of characterization because of the performance.
I really think there should have been a Jason Zordon, because what happens is basically they can't get their suits because they got to think about each other and they have to do teamwork, which is corny, but it works with the Power Rangers. It's always been like that. It's kind of been like a rely on your friends sort of show. And they can't do it. And why didn't he have a flashback moment where we could establish more Zordon? You could get the severity of the thing across, and you could also, like, it could be before Billy even dies. He got thrown into the water a little bit. I don't know, but
I think I question that too. I just thought the scene of Billy's death was filmed weird, but I think the implication was there was a rope around his neck, so Rita snapped.
Well, also she zapped him and like with the power stuff. But I just think like Zordon wanting to not be a head on a wall and wanting to be whole again, like a person. And then that sacrifice for Billy could have been like a really good moment. And then also Jason could have learned stuff from Zordon, how to be the leader of the group. And instead it was just like, you have to be the leader of the group because you're the red colored one. So I think I wanted a half an hour more to develop this, and it would have gone from, okay, that was a fun Power Rangers movie. I'm not disappointed. It's Pacific Rim, basically Power Rangers, but it could have gone from that to like, holy shit, this might be an actual really good franchise forever.
Speaking of which, I feel like there was a scene cut somewhere that cut something important. Because at the end, remember, Red Ranger goes to Zordon, and he puts the power sword, which they never established Zordon gave him or anything. Obviously, it's a part of the powers. But he like puts it in a slot as to give it back to Zordon, as if there was a moment somewhere where Zordon gave him the power sword and was like...
I thought about that too. It took me out for a little bit because I was like, when did that fucking talk happen?
Right, because I went to the bathroom once during the movie, because I get big sodas, and after the movie was over, I went to my girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, that power sword thing at the end. Did I miss a scene where like Zordon had like a talk with him? You know what I mean? And gave him this and talked about responsibility or something?" And she was like, "No, nothing happened." And I was like, "Oh, that's a weird scene." Was the implication that they're giving back the powers to Zordon unless they're needed again, and they don't have morphers in this, so they couldn't just give the morpher, and that was the only visual way they thought to establish it?
They could have given him the stones and put him on like a pedestal.
Right, I guess. So
no,
I don't.
But the stones don't want to leave them. That's the thing. Like the stones refuse. Remember?
Yeah,
like they established that they can't like walk away from those things. I got to keep them on them. I don't really know what that was, honestly. I'm trying to think of any justification. I think they just cut a big scene out because
they must have cut some
relationship. Maybe there's a director's cut that'll happen, but there will be deleted scenes probably at least. So I don't know. But all of that said, I think it's going to be an okay series. I think what are we supposed to get? 3 at least?
They said they want to do 6. That's not there. Even if it's successful, they're not doing 6. But I'm hoping if we get a trilogy, I'd be like, all right.
Adding Tommy in the next one, because that was the stinger at the end. Was they're all in detention, and then the teacher that takes care of it. They start slow zooming on a desk, and the guy's just taking roll, and he gets past like Jason and Billy and all them, and he goes, Tommy Oliver, and then it cuts. That was a good cut, and everybody came out smiling, so that was fine. But
yeah, of course, the scene has a fucking green jacket on it, too.
Yeah.
Again, another thing to praise this movie for, I think it rode the line between taking it seriously and knowing it's fucking stupid and silly well. It's hard to do with something like Power Rangers. It kept the spirit of, it is
too dark.
It's campy, and it is silly, but also...
actually has genuine camp in it, too. The slap joke, actually, was one of my favorite parts. He slaps the bully that's bullying Billy. Jason does down in detention, and the bully goes, "Did you slap me?" And he goes, "Yeah, weird, huh?" And like it was very tone perfect for the like. It wasn't like it didn't go boing. It was a slap, but they made a joke about it, and it felt correct. Even though they started it out with Jason getting in a really bad car accident.
Yeah. Again, I keep forgetting stuff like that. Actually, that's a good thing too. That the fact that he is, I know you talked about earlier that he's like an ex jock, and he's like dealing with that stuff, and the stuff with his dad too. You know what I'd like,
and that
go ahead.
I was gonna say that, and that was the guy that was Pam's on and off again husband from The Office, and I cannot remember the fucking actor's name.
Roy
from The Office, but the actor's name. He did a really good job, and he felt daddy to me, not like daddy who kiss me daddy. I mean, like he felt
a dad
-y. Yeah, I don't know. It just came across as like it felt like he was actually disappointed. The guy works hard. That was all established. It felt like a real character, and that's and I think that relationship specifically is why I want more from the other characters' backstories, because we got so much from Jason, which I expected, but we got Jason, Billy, and then Kimberly, and then they just like brushed the other two off. Like Trini shows up by the way, she just shows up. She's just like on a fucking rock, and they're like, hi, and then she runs away and they chase her.
They needed a better, again, I give, because it's Power Rangers, I think it's because I had low expectations, and also the show was so campy, I give it passes where I wouldn't normally give other movies. The fact that they all happened to be near the quarry at the same time, that's bad writing. That's real bad writing in a screenplay. But I kind of gave it leeway, because I was like, well, I did like them.
Zach at least had like... So Billy goes and he used to do this thing with his dad, who is now dead. Okay. Jason needs to be there because he wants to get the thing off of his leg, because he's had the tracking device for his parole or probation. Kimberly's out there because she's just grumpy and she likes to swim or some shit. Okay, I'm okay with that. Zach was on top of a train, and that's just kind of where he hangs out, and he actually had to walk into the woods because he was like confused as to why Kimberly was doing the thing. And then Trini is just on a rock standing there. Yeah,
Trini was the weakest reason to be there, I think. It was very convenient.
But the thing is, the least developed character, it should have been Jason. The least developed character, Trini, is the one who Rita visits, who we're supposed to feel stakes for. That's not how you do it.
Well, the reason the screenwriting reason that they sent Rita to her was because she was the least linked to the group at that point. She was the outsider, even within the group. It was a test of her to see, is she going to be loyal to the group despite her being the least connected to it and having fewer connections with other people in general.
Well, of course, but it turns out that it's Jason's fault they can't morph at the end anyway. So that makes thematic sense for it to be Jason anyways.
You're already complaining about Jason having too much character and not giving the other characters anything.
If you're not going to develop it, then make it mean something in that moment. Because I was like, I don't give a fuck if she stabs her in the face right now. We'll get a new Yellow Ranger. I don't even care. We'll get that black girl from the movie with the hair. She had like the long cornrows. Do you remember the Power Rangers movie? Yeah.
I want to say her name was Aisha or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. I'm just saying, we'll get her. She's not busy. I know that for a fact.
So in the live chat, by the way, like I said before, anyone, I typed it, not say it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the live chat and we'll talk about them. Someone says, if they made it feel like a smaller town than it was, I would understand them all being in the same place, but it feels like a coast small town, not an actual small town. I get what you're saying, but speaking of the small town factor, Angel Grove on the show was never, they never acted like Angel Grove was a small town.
It was basically like San Francisco, wasn't it? I always got the impression it was San Francisco, but like future San Francisco.
It was definitely a coastal town because some of the Megazords, the Dragon Zord specifically, comes out of the ocean. Although that's because it's tied to Japanese footage, but still, it's in the canon, despite the reasoning. And during the fights, when it wasn't in the desert or whatever, it was in a city with like big buildings and stuff. So the one thing I'm concerned about for the future of the series, they can't really do big monster fights with generic like, for instance, I would do, if I were writing the second movie, I would do sort of a Star Trek Beyond where it begins with sort of a snippet, a day in the life of the Power Rangers, where they're clearly in the middle of an episode of the show. They're already in the middle of a battle with another monster or something. And this is just a daily thing for them. But you can't do that because that establishes that this small town with very few people in it is getting attacked by giant monsters consistently, and there are people still living there. It makes sense if it's a giant city where, there's no way you can move out the entire population or whatever. But like, if Rita starts sending monsters all the time to this place, it would be destroyed in a week because, you know what I mean? It wouldn't work. So I feel like they wrote themselves a little bit into a corner on that one. However, there's actually a comic book series that started just now, and it's a follow-up to the movie. It's like what's happening after the events of the movie, like a month later. And I read...
Is it official?
It is official. And I don't know if they'll consider it canon when the second movie comes out. I assume that's up to the studio. But it's produced by those people, and it's actually very interesting. I only read the first like 6 pages or something. It was like a teaser, but it was interesting. They're talking about like people are realizing, oh my god, aliens exist. Who are these Power Rangers? What is going? Like they're like, what is happening? And the government's coming. You know what I mean? To check this out. The army's there.
Yeah, it'd be a military state pretty quickly.
Yeah, and there's like refugee camp. There's refugee camps for people whose homes were destroyed. I guess refugee camp's probably the wrong.
Like a FEMA camp.
Yeah, FEMA camp.
No blacks allowed,
Thunderdome,
right? W.
What else?
I think they should. I think they. By the way, they should fight outside of Angel Grove.
Yeah, it would make more sense if they do some of that stuff in the desert, but if they wanted to, right? But
just go up north, like say, like they're gonna destroy the core of the Earth by punching in the North Pole. Done. Good to go.
Plot hole, by the way, kind of that maybe I just missed something. Rita wants the Zeo crystal for MacGuffin reasons. She wants power. Whatever, fine. But Zordon says that every planet in the universe with life has a part of the Zeo crystal. So does she have to collect all of them? Was this the last one?
Zeo crystal. I don't know if they're parts of one crystal. I think
in the show the Zeo crystal was segmented into pieces and that's why I'm assuming.
Sure.
But I could be wrong.
Well, I don't know if that's a plot hole more than just a plot.
But like, why is she? Why this planet? Why this one Zeo crystal? Does she only need this one?
Because that's the one she died on. She wasn't like she came back. She was in the water.
Right, but like she was looking for that one specifically. Aren't there a million other like even why'd you come to the dinosaur planet to steal the Zeo crystal? Why didn't you go to the planet of it just said life. There's probably just a planet just full of moss somewhere. Yeah. Just go to the moss planet and steal their Zeo crystal. Or
yeah, maybe, I don't
maybe she was like, I don't want the moss Zeo crystal. I want the dinosaur Zeo crystal because it's cool. I don't know.
What's that one guy that does the comeback kid
no
stand-up routine on Netflix? What? He's that anyway.
Oh, the guy who does that. What's new, pussycat? What, that bit guy?
Yeah, he's great.
John Mulaney.
He sounded like John Mulaney. I don't want the moss crystal. No, I don't know. From it just seemed like the convenient crystal in this film. I don't know why she started there. Again, we could have used 15 minutes of prequel with Zordon as the Red Ranger. Like, I want to see Zordon fight too, not crawl across a fucking Also, you could bait and switch us and just make us think we dropped into the middle of an episode. He could be fighting someone, and then all of a sudden you see dinosaurs in the background. You're like, what the fuck? And then he gets defeated, and it turns out it's Zordon. That's cool, but it didn't do that. Also, it didn't. I think in the subtitles it said Zordon : and then he started talking you can't even reveal it because they were obviously not talking English.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a movie with problems, but overall, the movie just made me smile.
All my bitching isn't me tearing it down. It's me wishing it was the best movie that came out this year.
Yeah,
because it was good enough to be that, honestly, and that's super weird. It could if it did all these things that we wanted to do with these really good characters and some Zordon stuff, and I would say a less bad Rita. I think Elizabeth Banks did fine, but it was written poorly and without the forced Krispy Kreme thing. I think this would have been up there with I don't know about Deadpool, but we would have talked about it in the squad below that type of superhero movie where
at least
this is a really fun movie.
Sure.
Did really well, and I gave a shit about the characters. That's what you want to do. All things said, it was as good as the worst Marvel movies. It was probably better than Thor 2.
Yeah, I'd put this somewhere. I'd probably, if someone was like, hey, you want to watch Ant-Man or you want to watch Power Rangers? I'd be like,
oh, Power Rangers.
I'll watch Power Rangers, sure. I've seen Ant-Man enough. I'll watch Power Rangers. That's where I'd put this. I'd put this around Ant-Man. That's a pretty actually good parallel.
That's similar tone too.
It's got problems, but I'll watch it. It's funny that you say you didn't really like Elizabeth Banks that much. I actually love. She was one of my favorite parts of the movie.
She did fine. Again, it was just her character motivation made no sense. It just Zordon, the performance was fine, but it didn't. There was nothing for me to hold on to. That's Rita. She's the bad guy. That's how it works. That's all I had.
I just love how she hammed it up. Like I mean,
oh yeah, for sure.
Before the movie, I was thinking
more with her face.
Yeah. I was thinking though before the movie, like, how do you do movie Rita and make her threatening? Because original Rita is just silly. She's like, after 10,000 years, I'm free, and she's like, get the power. She's crazy. She's crazy. And it's like, how do you translate that to a more realistic? Well, hold on. Here's what I'm saying. How do you translate that to a realistic movie? You don't. What you do is you still have her act like that, but everyone reacts more realistically to how someone who acts like that would act. And you kind of go, what the fuck? And that
you
makes
go full crazy. She should have gone a little bit further, and we should have seen her kill more people on screen. I think if she's like eating that donut while holding a head and strangling a person while eating a donut, like, it would have just made it more. I don't want to say jokery because this is not in the realm of that, but it could have given us something like, oh shit, she's a bad fucking person. But instead, it's more like this caricature that's the bad guy that you gotta beat. It doesn't really feel like there's a threat, even when she invades Trini's house, who is, I think she's Hispanic now, which is fine. You don't need to.
I thought she was still. Well, I don't know.
I think she was Hispanic.
Oh, okay.
I think her mom. Yeah, did they show her mom? I don't think she had Asian parents.
I don't remember.
Like, she was like, yeah, no, because they sit at breakfast for a second. And like, you don't talk to us anymore. Are you on drugs? And she's like, I'm actually a superhero. You know that.
It's in the trailer.
Friends found a cave, and we're superheroes now. I don't know. I really like the movie though, for all things. By the way, it sounds so negative, but it's I just wanted it to be great.
It's because one more rewrite pass through of this could have been like a really. Yep. It could. I wouldn't be. It's just. It's things that could have been solved in one more rewrite. Just have a script doctor go over it and go, okay, this doesn't quite make sense. We need to establish this point a little bit earlier, like a Chekhov's gun situation. We need to make sure there are setups and payoffs. Let's switch that to Bulk and Skull, just because fan service isn't necessary, but it doesn't make sense to change that character. You know what I mean? If they're going to be a bully,
you already have a bully from it.
The one thing that bugged me, and this wasn't the thing about movies, is it's an illusion, and the plot holes are only a problem if you notice them while you're watching the movie. Like, afterwards, it's like interesting to think about it, but as long as you're engrossed in the movie, it's fine. And I didn't notice this until after the fact, but I thought about it and I thought, it's really, really convenient they found those power coins the same day that the Red Ranger's dad found Rita's corpse in the ocean.
Yeah.
She's been buried for hundreds of millions of years, and today, the same day that his son and a group of friends found the Power Rangers powers.
Yeah, kind of the way that they talk about that is like it was always going to happen.
That's what I'm saying as far as the one more pass through on the rewrite. I know they briefly mentioned the morphing grid, which the morphing grid in Power Rangers, if you're not a fan, has always been very vague. It's the force created between the struggle between good and evil. It keeps things in balance.
Metachlorians.
It's the force, kind of. So I would have established a little bit more of that and maybe had Zordon a little more mystical about it. Like, the morphing grid knows what's going on. I don't agree with the choices, and I know he mentioned that. But he should have been like, I don't agree with the choices of you as Rangers, but the morphing grid, things tend to work out. Obviously written better than that, but you know what I mean? And if the coins chose you, something must be coming, is what I would have had him say. You know what I mean?
It just there's all these little things they could have do to take it up from like the 7 that it probably is to like an 8 or 9. And I'm not even kidding. It's so close to being like, holy shit, we got a Power Rangers movie and it's great. But instead we're just like, oh, we got a Power Rangers movie. It was fun and I had a good time and I do not feel like I wasted my money. That's all I can ask for. Cool.
Yeah. I'm curious what you think as far as future movies, what they should do as far as the suits are concerned, because I still don't like the design of the suit. Should they? But see, they have to do the Green Ranger, so they can't even. I was thinking to myself, well, maybe in the next movie, what they'll do is they'll switch powers every movie, kind of like how they did every season. And next season will be next movie will be like Power Rangers Zeo. But you can't do that because the next movie is going to be the Green Ranger saga, and that's a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers thing.
I don't want them to change powers necessarily. What I think they should do is, you can even like, hey, can we like make these more our own thing? Like, and then Zordon could be like, well, that's what me and my team wore. And they're like, yeah, but you're lame. you're an old guy, and they can kind of like do stuff to personalize it. Kind of like in that fan service YouTube video that came out a while ago. Like the Power Rangers were distinct in that, like, I think Zach had some shit on his arms, and like there was different components that, like, it was clearly the same base suit, but it was different. And of course, Tommy needs the chest thing,
the shield,
or it's not nearly as cool. And he's got the Dragon Zord, which wasn't a thing that was on the Earth ever. Although, I mean, you could easily just say, yeah, dragons existed at one point. You haven't seen them? It's weird. I don't know. I don't think they should do anything until they go off planet. Like, after this movie, they can start branching out to like other kinds of Zords and suits and stuff. This one, I think they need to stay with the base suit model a little bit and then change it up as you see fit. But it can't, like, you can't go not MMPR homage yet.
Sure.
Kind of like how the other movie. That's the one thing I liked about the, was that 1997 Power Rangers movie, something like that. Mm-hmm. The one thing I liked about that is it started out Mighty Morphin and ended like Ninja or whatever it was, and there was a crossover, and it made sense. Now I think the Ninja, like the geese they wore, that was fucking lame, but I like the idea of them, like, there's a metamorphosis and it changes and we got to learn new things, and then the audience gets to learn new things. That's cool. Tommy's going to be enough of an addition next movie to keep us over, but the movie after that has to be, because Power Rangers changes so often we expect it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Doctor Who in that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
I kind of wish they had their individual weapons more, and I wish there was like one more fight. Like, just on the ground, hand to hand.
Someone asked earlier in the live chat, how were the fight scenes shot? You mean fight scene? It was okay. It was okay.
I mean, there was a training thing without the suits, but
true.
It was fine. Like, it felt Power Rangers-y, and they like talked during it, just like in the show.
Yeah. I wish it
there wasn't like Billy didn't have an axe, and then there wasn't a sword, and Trini didn't have the things. So it didn't feel as unique.
I agree. I don't like that the Power Sword is a Red Ranger thing. It's always been a Red Ranger
Power Sword came out of his arm, and like his hand turned into a sword.
I don't mind that.
It looked odd.
Him. If they're going to do an aesthetic change, that's fine. They're going for, because they're going for like a bioorganic armor. They're not going for they're going for, it's like a bioorganic thing and stuff can grow out of it. Fine. If you're going to do that, that's fine. But I don't want, for instance, the Black Ranger, to have, I want an axe to come out of his hand like it was on the show. Or was that, what did the Blue Ranger have?
Was it? Wait. Oh, no, I can't remember.
So, someone had, like, I know Pink Ranger had a bow and arrow. Yellow Ranger, I think, had the sai, I want to say.
I'm pretty sure that had the axe, and the Blue Ranger had something else. Let me see. Let me look it up while you talk to the people.
Okay, let's see. What else did I like about the movie?
How do you feel about the Zords?
I don't like the Transformers aesthetic that's creeped into robots in movies, and I felt a lot of that in the Zords, especially the Megazord. Not a fan, but whatever. I kind of expected that going in. I did like that when they first when the Zords were first let out, they played the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme very briefly, though it seemed an afterthought. I feel like in the original cut of the movie, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme wasn't in there, but then in test screenings or something, it felt like people were like, "Where's the theme song?"
Can you see that? Oh, you can't really see it very well. Ow, fuck. Smashed my elbow. It's like size, but they're connected, and then you can pull them off.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Which is lame as fuck.
So I wish that they had integrated the theme song a little better. Actually, there is on the soundtrack to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, there is a instrumental version of the original theme song that's actually pretty good. It's very different in tone. It's more like dun 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 dun, but it's still pretty good. This is a nitpick, but at the end of the movie, they started playing during the end credits, they played "I Got the Power," which is kind of funny, but it's a shitty cover of "I Got the Power." So I was like, why? Just use "I Got the Power." It's from the 90s, so as Power Rangers, people would have gotten a chuckle. Because here's what happened when the end credits started, and I heard dun 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 dun, and it's obviously the opening riff to "I Got the Power." I kind of went ha, ha, ha. You like chuckle music pun, fine. But then they started singing, and it wasn't the original one. I was like, oh. Because I felt like someone had the idea in the movie to be like, oh, we should put "I Got the Power" at the end because that's funny. And then like a producer went, yeah, but get a new version because the kids don't like the old stuff. You know, it was just weird.
It would have been all right with me too if they put it in the 90s. Like the whole universe would have been pretty cool.
That would have been an interesting take. I like the movie that we got, but if they had made it in the 90s, maybe made it a little bit cheesier, a little more tongue-in-cheek, that would be an interesting movie. I'd watch that movie. In the live chat, Quinn says, is it worth a rental? Yes, it's definitely worth a rental.
It's definitely worth a rental. You could buy it too if you're a huge Power Rangers fan, especially if you're like Hugo and you have probably the box sets of several of those.
I don't, but the only reason is because every season of Power Rangers is on Netflix. If they get taken off Netflix, I'll probably buy them. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fun movie. If you're a fan of Power Rangers, even you don't have to be like has a fucking Power Rangers helmet in your background fan. I'm saying if you remember as a kid, like, oh man, I liked Power Rangers. Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
I had the Megazord.
It's fine. You might want to get like a matinee showing middle of the day, whatever. So you're not paying.
Oh, it's definitely cool for like a before dinner. Like, especially if you're a 90s kid, you and your significant other or your friend or whoever go before dinner. You could talk about it at dinner because it's going to bring up a lot of nostalgia. It'll be fun.
Sure.
It's good. It's a fine movie. It's not Logan by any means. You're not going to go out of it and go like, holy shit, that was a really great film. Like, it doesn't do anything revolutionary. It just didn't shit on the Power Rangers. And it did something new with it enough. And it was fun, and it makes you laugh at a consistent pace. And the action was nice. I'm hoping for more in the next one. It's hard to praise this movie too highly, but not sound like I'm shitting on it because I don't want to.
It's a weird middle area because I don't want people to not see it because I want to see what they do with the next one. I do want to see what they do, but at the same time, I don't want to be like, yes, it's great, go see this movie, because it's not great. It's not an amazing movie. It's just a good Power Rangers movie. That's what it is. I don't know. So there's room for course correction, but it's a good start. If this is their we use this comparison all the time. I hope this is the Power Rangers Batman Begins and the Green Ranger saga is the Dark Knight. Like, I'd love to see a really, really good Power Rangers movie that I go, holy shit, they made Power Rangers an actually good movie. And I'm not saying I want it to be dark and serious. I'm just saying a quality movie in that universe. So.
Yeah. Better than TMNT and Bayformers. Did you know they're doing 14 more Transformers movies?
They said there's 14 written. They have 14 scripts on file that they could use.
What the fuck? No, don't go see that.
I know they said that, but honestly, for a series like, it wouldn't shock me, and I'm not kidding when I say this. Series like Transformers, like the Marvel movies, like the Disney or like the Star Wars movies, like the Fast and Furious movies is probably a better example than Star Wars. It wouldn't shock me if there are like 30 spec scripts on file at the studio for a Fast and Furious movie. Most of which, if not all of which, will never get made. It's just that when they go, okay, it's time for a sequel, they sift through their scripts and say, okay, which one do we want to do? You know what I mean? It's not that we are planning 14 Transformers movies. It's we have 14 scripts on file. Next time we'll look through them and decide which one we want to do, if that makes sense. That's how I took it, at least. But I don't know.
I feel like this... It's like the nuclear winter of movies. Every year we're going to get a fucking Michael Bay Transformers movie.
Endless
Good for that guy,
trash!
Good for that guy.
Yeah.
So... Love it.
I don't know. Is that it? I honestly, I think we're gonna wrap up because it's a good. I guess for a Power Rangers movie, it's a great Power Rangers movie. It's a pretty fun movie, just as far as general movies go.
Ruth Marie says, "I think I'll watch it when my kids are older. It's not inappropriate for kids. I'd watch it with the 5-year-old, 6-year-old that we have. So, like."
It's like PG-13 for violence, but it's not like no one...
It's not even violence, though. Like, they've seen worse in their shows. Like, for real. it's
I'm trying to
fun.
think. Does anyone?
And I know I said like Trini deals with their sexuality, but it's like if you don't know what that already is, they don't like overtly say like I like to dive on muff. Sure do love a little good labia in my mouth. No, she's just like she hints at the fact that her parents are disappointed in her, and the friends sort of infer that, and the tone is that she has like a she doesn't like boys basically, and they always want her to have a boyfriend or something. But like other than that I'm trying to think of the most adult thing in this. Maybe the car accident.
I'm trying to think. Do any of the there's a cow dick joke. There's one cow dick joke, but that's the only like dick.
Kids
and they don't
get that though.
Yeah, they wouldn't get it. Although they do
even
show
if they did, like 6-year-old here, he might go, "Boy cow, did he touch his penis?" And then we'd just be like, "No, it's a joke. You don't get it." Like that's it. Like there's nothing to diffuse here. You could watch it with your kids easy.
They said
he's only one.
Yeah.
Well, watch it while he fucking poops his pants. I don't know.
You could watch hardcore porn with a 1-year-old and they don't know what's going on.
I don't remember that shit, dude.
Though I wouldn't recommend it. It's generally frowned upon.
Like turn them away because it's weird, but like they could be in the room. Cows don't have ticks. Is it because are you being pedantic right now? Are you being pedantic?
Well, the joke in the movie was that they thought it was a cow dick because the joke was the guy thought it was a female cow milking it. He's like, I'm milking the cow, and
he's
like
saying
it's not a
bull. He's saying it's a bull.
It is a bull, but he thought it was a cow. That's why I said cow dick.
Clearly, they're stealing jokes from TBR. I agree. I want royalties, dude.
God, I'm trying to think if I missed any.
Hello from Slovakia. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, any last minute questions, by the way? We're going to wrap this up, I'm sure, because there's almost nothing left to talk about.
I liked it. For $5 to $10 for the DVD, I would get it. I don't know if you're going to get it that cheap, but yeah, I don't know. It's worth it. It's worth seeing. How do you feel about the changing the main thing for Mr. West's power? What? I don't know what that means. Is that Kanye West? Was he in that?
No. Whiplash says the original.
I thought he went to bed.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Whiplash. He said he texted us and said he was going to bed.
That
liar face.
Well, he said the original Rangers cameo. Explain. What do you mean?
Explain why Tommy and Kimberly were there. No one else was invited. Well, Trini can't be.
Sure. I assume David Yost doesn't want to show up because all the shit he took. He was the Blue Ranger who got made fun of for being gay in the original show. I don't know. It's funny that
Jason. Why didn't he show up? He's not doing anything.
That's what I was thinking. I felt bad for Jason because, like, if I were him, and I hope they at least asked him, because if I were him and I saw this movie and I saw they asked fucking the Pink Ranger and the Green Ranger, who wasn't even in this movie, Tommy wasn't even in this movie, I would have been like, what the fuck, man? I get it. Kids remember the Green Ranger and like him better than the Red Ranger because I get it. Green Ranger looks cooler. He's the evil one. He beats it's a kid thing. It's like, it's like it's the Boba Fett effect. As a kid, it's the cooler toy, so you like the character more.
Why is Jake bad at League of Legends? I'm a bonobo.
Sick burn. But yeah, I feel like if I were the guy who originally played Jason, I'd feel like shit because he gets overshadowed by Tommy all the time. You know what I mean? And it seems like Jason David Frank. He kind of seems like he'd be a dick in real life. I don't know why.
Like a douche for sure. Well, he seems like one of those CrossFit bros, but he's like. He comes across to me as the guy that still talks about high school football. You know what I mean? I
feel like that too, but his high school football is Power Rangers.
Exactly.
Right, because I've seen at conventions, and there's nothing wrong with people. I like Power Rangers, obviously. I like the Green Ranger. I'm wearing a Green Ranger hat. I think that's fun. He should totally be able to go to conventions and make money off that and sign autographs and have people be like, man, I loved the show as a kid. Thank you. And him to be like, oh, no, I enjoyed it. He doesn't seem like the kind of humbler person, though, who realizes...
We could be totally wrong, but there's like how the former doctors do it. Like David Tennant, like genuinely enjoyed his time as the Doctor. He enjoys the fans. He still talks about it. He's a huge fan of the show. He just seems like a nice guy about it. He's not like, I was the Doctor once. Just like I had the opportunity to be the Doctor. This guy's like, I was the Green Ranger and I'm still the Green Ranger.
Yeah, he seems a little bit like, again, I totally get it. And that's the thing. Other Rangers, like, I'm going to butcher this, Tommy Yambosh, something like that. He was, I want to say, the Green Ranger during Turbo, and
I wouldn't know that shit.
Maybe Zeo. I don't remember. Super nice guy. He goes to conventions all the time. I've heard he's just the nicest guy. I've never heard a bad word said about the dude. I heard he's very happy to, take pictures, be like, hey, talk about the show, whatever. Seems like a nice guy. But of course, he doesn't get the lines that I'm sure the original Green Ranger, I should say, does. Because
this is the funniest comment. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Jake is the Tommy to Hugo's Jake. Who is that being mean to?
I don't know.
That's so good.
Good question. Someone says, do you see the movies bringing back a new wave of fans for young kids? Yeah, I think so. I think if a kid saw this movie, they'd be into it. Maybe not like this is. I would argue this is a reboot trying to revitalize the franchise, but they're up. The age bracket for original Power Rangers was probably like 4 to 9 or so. Now they probably bumped up the demographic they're aiming at to be like 7 to 15. I still enjoy the movie, but
7 to 15. No. That's
the demo. No, they're trying to hit. They're hitting a teenage demo.
You don't cameo Tommy for someone who wasn't alive when he was on the show.
Oh, it's both. I'm not saying they're not doing fan service as well, but the tone of the movie and the fact that it's all breakfast clubby and we're teenagers. Here's teenage problems. I think it's more so going for a slightly older audience as far as new people coming in. Of course, they're trying to say to people who are fans, we're going to do it justice. But I'm saying as far as creating new fans, I think it's going to create different new fans than original Power Rangers created, if that makes sense. Because if you're 5 and you watch this, you might be bored for the first 90% of the movie because it's a lot of talking. It's a lot of, a 5-year-old doesn't understand, most 5-year-olds, luckily, I guess, don't understand like the deep, like I disappointed my parents, and not in a I stole a cookie when I wasn't supposed to way, but in a I'm almost an adult and they're fundamentally disappointed in the person I've become sort of way that this movie touches on. A 5-year-old doesn't get that and the conflict therein. So, but when you're a teenager, you start to kind of get that. So I think that's why the new fans will be slightly older than the original fans were, but yes, I think it'll create a new, hopefully, wave of people who like Power Rangers so we can get more stuff out of it. Let's see. Someone says, Tommy Wiseau should be the Green Ranger. I'd pay for that. As would I. That would be a bold direction to take it. Oh, hi, Rangers, as he comes into the Megazord.
Oh, hi, Tommy. You're my favorite Ranger.
Anyway,
I love how it's always life. I love how it's always, oh, hi.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Was Tommy a porn actor or something like that?
No, for some reason there's tons of rumors online about Power Ranger, ex-Power Rangers.
Everyone wanted to fuck Kimberly, and it's still the case.
She seems like a nice person. I want to say her name's Amy Jo Johnson. She did an interview with the new cast recently where she was the interviewer. They surprised them with her. She seems like a nice person. She has a presence on social media and stuff.
Yeah, but we were talking about having. Never mind.
Okay. Lewis Conroy says Tommy was on the show 10 years ago. Black Dino Ranger. I know. I watched Dino Thunder when it was on.
Right.
That was 10 years ago. Wow.
The people in my house aren't old enough to know that. So, do you think Tommy will be under Rita's control? This is interesting. I think what's going to happen is it's not going to be necessarily Rita's direct control, but I think he's going to come across the Green Power Gem, and the Green Power Gem will be corrupted, and then they have to fight the Green Power Ranger. And she had just gotten a huge power surge from all the gold and shit. So it'll be hard to fight at first, and then they'll basically beat the evil out of him, and then they'll go join forces in the third act. That's what's going to happen.
You know what? Actually,
he won't even be doing anything wrong. Like, I don't think he's going to be like a terrorist, but I think he'll have to be dealt with.
You know what I would like? Actually, and because the first movie took kind of a novel approach in that it wasn't just 20 minutes in the movie, we get our powers. Let's go fight monsters for the rest of the movie. Because it did take its time. You know what I think would be ballsy, and I want them to do for the second movie? Green Ranger Saga. They end up beating the Green Ranger similarly to how you said, but they don't say, come join our team. They don't say, come join our team. They say, you need to go. Leave. Give us your power coin and leave. You are not allowed in Angel Grove ever again. And it's like a almost borderline depressing ending. Like they saved the city, but at what cost type ending. And then third movie, even bigger threat shows up. Now they have to team up with Tommy, and they're not thrilled about it. I think that's how you do it.
Especially if it's like contentious still.
Yeah, and actually, there's a separate series of comics right now that I've read the first, I want to say 6 issues of, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's not based on the new movie. It's based on the original show, but it's expanded and more adult. So think of them as 2 separate universes. Like there's the original Star Trek timeline, and now there's the J.J. Abrams timeline. This comic takes place in the original Power Rangers timeline, if that makes sense. And it takes place right after the Green Ranger saga. But they're not just like, okay, you're part of the team now, Tommy. It's dealt more realistically. They're like, no, we don't trust you. Zordon is... it's good, because Zordon's like, listen, he's a part of the team now. And they're like, what? Why are you having him be part of the team? And Zordon's like, listen, I'm the leader. I mean, the Red Ranger's the leader, but I'm the leader of the Red Ranger. So listen, I'm saying Tommy's on the team now. Make it work. And there's conflict. And that's a good way to deal with it. I hope that they do something like that with the movies, because you have to take it that direction. This movie did a good job of taking very silly, unrealistic things and making people react to them in a realistic fashion. And that's what I'd like to see moving forward. Silly things that are silly and out there, but people react to them as if they're real people. Like
Tommy's the one time that you can get pretty dark with it. Other than that, it's gotta be pretty fun. So Tommy's whole saga is actually kind of it's like a big deal. And that's what a lot of people remember from the series, is when Tommy starts to enter the scene, it's like it's kind of like a holy shit, what's gonna happen next week sort of thing. And I'm old enough to remember waiting for the new episodes. So
sure. Oh, so this is a great question, and actually I want to build upon it for my imaginary screenplay for the sequels. Someone says, do you think they will set up Lord Zedd in the sequel? Here's what I would do.
I would
tying it into what I just said about the Green Ranger. Do that whole thing with the Green Ranger, but then at the end of that, Rita's finally she's defeated again, and she's on the moon or wherever, and she's like, I don't know how she'd be acting mad about it, but then looming figure or something, and he's like, you failed me again. I'm done. And it's Zedd, and you'd find out in the third movie. It turns out
killer. By the way,
killer, sure. And then you'd find out in the third movie, then they would reveal why Rita went bad. It was Zedd. Zedd was like her Palpatine, but not shitty.
It'd make up for the shitty beginning to the
sure.
movie.
He's like, he goes to Rita and is like, have you heard the tale of Darth Plagueis? Explains to her, listen, you can have all this power with the Zeo Crystal. All you have to do is work for me. And that's why she turned evil. And then the Rangers have to fight.
You know what would be really good, too? There's enough to work on with the names and how that is. And just kind of like the mirror image. You could have Zordon and Zedd be related.
I don't want to be.
Or friends, from the same... Sure. Like Zordon and Zedd, maybe they're just the same race. And so they have a relationship. And then you could get flashback moments between Zordon and Zedd, and you can see how this came to fruition.
Okay, yeah,
and
I'm down with that.
I seriously want more of a Zordon movie moving forward. Give me some Zordon stuff, and if Zedd, if you can start out empathizing with the guy, oh, maybe Zordon's the dick, and then Zedd wipes out his family or some shit. Or does something really horrible.
Ooh, maybe I would do, baby. Here's how I would do it. I would have Zedd. Zedd would have been... How do I explain this? Zedd would have been an older, retired ranger. That
Zordon ranger, which would make sense given his red characteristics in the show.
Right. and he would be basically the previous team, Zordon's team's Zordon, if that makes sense. He was he was their commander. He wasn't an actual ranger anymore, but maybe he used to be, and he would sit at command and be like, okay, here's what you need to go do. But he got jaded for some reason and decided he's evil. So then you'd have an interesting relationship between Zordon and Jason, because Zordon's going to be Jason's mentor figure.
Yeah,
I assume you'll get some duality with that, with Jason dealing with his real father and Zordon as sort of a surrogate father figure. And then you could parallel that with Zordon dealing with his father figure leader, Zedd, who did turn evil, and Zordon's dealing with that as well. And how does he become a better leader for these Rangers than the leader that failed him in the past? Damn! Yeah. I'm going to write a fucking screenplay. Call me dude. Lionsgate.
Yeah, let's get after it. Just saying. Also, I think Alpha needs something to do in this next movie.
Yeah, and by the way, don't have him one I per movie, please. One was fine.
Did he not do that? Did they do that?
They did it like 3 times. The first time it was kind of like he didn't do like I. They went, oh, Rita, I. More like a normal person would say it. But they did it like 3 times, and it stopped being funny after the first time. So. Yeah. I don't know. I guess that's it. I don't have much more to say. I have my ideas out there for the sequels, I guess. Yeah. I like the movie.
They're going to disappoint us now because those are good ideas. Think they changed his appearance because of the no skin thing. I actually think it's cool if he doesn't. You could do this sort of like, obviously his appearance will be changed. Like, it doesn't have to be like a big Z on his chest.
They'll make him an alien that his species looks like they have no skin and it looks like muscles, but that's just what his species skin looks like.
It'd be all right though, is if it was Zordon's fault and he's just like burnt.
Okay, fine, I'll take that. Whatevs.
Yeah.
I think that's it, I guess. Yes, the Iron Fist live stream is coming. I think we're gonna give you guys we'll do it next week. How about that? Next week? Good?
Sure.
And so you have until next week, probably near the end of the week, to watch Iron Fist, and then we will have that live stream, I promise.
Yeah. I'm currently binge watching 13 Reasons Why.
Is it any good? I saw that was a thing. Oh.
I'm surprised. It makes me hate high school all over again.
Oh, good.
But no, it's well acted and interesting. It's not like I thought it was gonna be like an MTV movie, but it's actually. It deals with some shit that's not like, normal necessarily. Like it's not just like, she died. Here's some grieving.
Oh, okay.
Like
did you see?
It's a good show.
Louis C.K. has a new Netflix special too.
Watch that too. It's gonna be exciting.
It's all right. I don't think it's my favorite of the ones he's done, but it's good. It's still
hilarious. It's my favorite one.
What else? I don't know.
That's it.
I don't know.
Well, good.
I guess okay. So thanks everyone. I really appreciate you guys being here to listen to our thoughts. You can always follow us on Twitter if you want at the Real Unpop. Whiplash does that.
Yeah,
and he's probably gonna take a fucking power nap.
Power nap. Sherlock hasn't come out yet. We talked about the special.
We didn't. No, Sherlock came out. Remember, I sent you the second episode. Did you never watch that still? Did you still not finish Sherlock? It's been out for like months.
Sherlock. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I was thinking Doctor Who in my head for some reason.
No, Doctor Who comes back in like a week though. So
I'm excited. Anyway, the Sherlock stream is right before Doctor Who comes out. I don't know.
Oh, someone says, I want the Power Rangers to go to space and get lost on some planet. I have good news for you. There are 2 seasons of Power Rangers in Space and Lost Galaxy, and also the movie from the 90s involved them going to a planet and wandering around for a while.
Yeah, so what was that?
They had to go to a different planet to get their ninja powers.
Didn't they just teleport there though?
They teleported there, but for some reason they couldn't teleport straight to the place with the powers. Oh wait, no, it was because it was a trial. I want to say I don't remember the lady's name. She had sticks that would make noise when she twirled them though. And it was stupid. That movie's stupid. Not this one though.
Power.
You got the touch. Dun dun dun. You got the power. Thanks everyone though, for real. All right, that's it. Bye.